Again, I will not record the Q&A section. I keep that private, and really it's a benefit to the people who stay in the room. But I do also know as we get into lengthier questions, sometimes people get into a lot more detail that really doesn't need to be recorded. So to preserve your privacy, I do not record the actual Q&A section, but remember what I said about finding that actual chat box, because the chat box is where I keep it highly interactive so that you get the most of our time today. So today, valuable visibility, right? It's important for people to know that we exist, but what does that mean? They know that we exist. It's not just that you build a better mousetrap and the world beats a path to your door. That's not true. That's so definitely a myth. So let's dive deep into how you can make this work. Now you're going to see me start with AI. So by the show of number 2, how many of you are using AI? Okay, let me know. I'd love to know how many are already using AI. If you've got favorites you want to shout out, like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, maybe you're a Claude AI person, maybe you're Mid-Journey. What's your favorites? Let me know. Those of you who are putting that number 2 in there, if you've got any favorites, feel free to. If you just want to put the number 2, that's great too. All right. Ooh, Firefly, love it. Yep, ChatGPT, love that too. Big fan of it. And if you haven't used Google Gemini, which used to be called Google Bard, take a look at it. It's the infant of everybody, so it's still learning, but it's really got some cool features, and I love the fact that it leans into and pulls from Google's actual search. And that's why we need to talk about this, is because Google search now is being powered in the US and in Canada, and it's rolling out across the world. It's being powered by AI, which is really important for you to know, because if you want to dominate and be able to be seen when people are ready to know, go, do, or buy, when they go to this device, they will only scroll about 2 screens. So how can you make sure that you're there? Well, we as small businesses have great opportunity, because generative search and generative engine optimization, so not just SEO anymore, it's GEO that we need to think about. And that's not geotagging, that's generative engine optimization, making sure that we show up high when AI is powering that search. Then that's a great opportunity for us as small business, because we really know our customers. So we'll talk about defining your best customer, defining your brand, reaching those prospects and creating awareness, how you can engage and influence them with consideration, and then pave that way to conversion. All right. Now, when I say conversion, that's a success action that happens either on your site or on, let's say, socials. If you only have socials and you don't have an actual website, not to worry. Or if you're using your Google business profile as your website, so that's your web presence, you still can do a lot of business. You do not have to have just a website to be able to get business and to grow your business. So we'll talk about that. And then, as always, I'll talk about a recap and free resources, because I'm always talking about things that are free. In fact, in this session, everything's free except for if you get, of course, the subscription base of ChatGPT, which is ChatGPT 4. There's payment there, not to me, but to OpenAI, who is the creator of ChatGPT. All right, I see a lot of people AI on Canva too. Motion. I love in video as well. We'll talk a little bit more as we go through how we can use AI to define our customers. So I'm going to give this to you 2 ways, is the way you can do this manually or with AI. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about who are your buyer personas. Now, the hardest thing and the biggest mistake that small businesses make is they tell me that they can serve anybody, everybody, or somebody. And that gets you your second cousin, nobody. It's too wide. It's too big. And the answer, anybody who fogs a mirror, is just you saying that I don't know who my target audience is. I hope you can guess and bring them to me, which is not a best place to be, because hope is wonderful to have, but it is truly a poor strategy. So we need to know who our best buyer is. It doesn't mean that we can't serve anybody, everybody, and somebody, right? We talked about that a lot yesterday, but we need to know who that best customer is, so when they see our messaging, our videos, our post, our email, our blogs, they know that this is for them. It resonates with them and it connects with them. So we need to know the demographics, the basics of, age, gender, of who is our best customer, psychographics, what's their behaviors, how do they make decisions, do they have children, anything like that will affect how people live their daily lives. The geographics, of course, where are they located at? Are they in northern the northern US, southern US, right? There's a difference in the behavior. There's a difference in the behavior from Miami and the humid climate to more Las Vegas, Nevada, and the very dry climate. So looking at their behavior is very important. So this is an example of looking at a buyer persona, and this comes straight from Canva, just so that you know, you can look at it there. I just wanted to pull it as an example of what a buyer persona looks like and how you can pick apart that demographics, psychographics, as well as some of the geographics and their behavior. See how they talk about steps to fix it, their goals. So you see some of the demographics on the left-hand side under Daniel's photo. And then in the grid, you'll see more of the behavior based of understanding your best customer. It is on us to be experts on our customer. That heavy lifting is on us. And it's also on us to connect the dots between our product, service, and solution and what is it that they need. We can't expect them to bridge that gap. And I can always see when people are expecting them to do that, because that's where you'll see a lot of interest, a lot of people coming through and clicking on things, and then no actions taken because there's some sort of disconnect either in what they're seeing or in the messaging of what they need to do next, right? All right, so here's another way. A lot of times people will even have more than one persona, so they'll put them side by side to showcase how their goals are different, how their frustrations are different. So for you, how many of you have done this? You don't use this for your business now, but you're learning. No worries. Oh, thank you, Michael. So you could put these side by side and you'll exactly know because your messaging is going to be different. Let's talk about this. Let's look at Eleanor, right? So I'm going to look at the person, the first person, and look underneath. Her motivation is to be organized, right? She just, everything has to be organized. If it's not, she's not in her zone. But when we look at Kimberly, the next column, her motivation is connection with the team. Now imagine if I put all my messaging out saying, you need to be more organized. This is something that'll streamline your day. You don't have to worry about it. Everything has its place. It's almost like Six Sigma. You've got everything where it needs to go. Kimberly may look at that and go, it's not for me. I could care less about where things go. I'm more concerned about where the team is, where their motivation is, where their goals are. Maybe they need training. Maybe they need updates and performance reviews. So she's more focused on that. And if all of our messaging is just for Eleanor, we're going to completely miss Kimberly. So that's why it's important for us to know who that best customer is, because I tell you, we cannot expect them to be the ones to fill in that gap. They're not going to do it. They're way too busy, right? When you have multiple personas, how do you recommend reaching out to them? Different marketing campaigns. Yes, 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 Cecilia. A lot of different funnels that you'll have for each one. For example, with Eleanor, since she's so organized, I might actually lead with a landing page that is completely about being organized. But and actually I might do that for Eleanor and Lorna, because if you look, let's bring her up. Lorna, you see how she wants to improve workflow? So that has a lot to do with organization. You see that what frustrates Eleanor is messy application navigation. So again, this would be that maybe I would have a landing page that would really be for Eleanor and Lorna's persona. And it might even have a chat bubble or a call for help or how you can contact somebody to help support you through that, because let's see, Lorna may need a consultation, and we want to put really simplified instructions there so she doesn't need a consultation, since that really does frustrate her. Okay, so she wants it nice and simple. I could do that for Eleanor and Lorna, but for Kimberly, I might have a landing page, or I might have a page of our website where it's all about talking about how the team's going to learn this together. We provide team support, how this makes the team cohesive, that anybody, no matter where they're at the team, from the beginning of being a team member to a seasoned team member, can take advantage of this. You see how that messaging changes for each one? And I know this may seem overwhelming, but think about who is the best customer, the best one that you cannot miss. If you had 100 of them, you would need no one else. Everybody else would be gravy. Who is that best customer? Really picture them. Now I'm going to help you do that with the handout that you received. So remember the link that I shared. I'm going to drop that because I see some people have come into the room since I dropped that link. Let me drop it again. Whoops. Just copy and paste that real quick. All right, it's right there in the chat box. That's the link where you can get a copy of today's slides as well as the handout. And that handout has a very manual version of how to break out exactly who our buyer persona is. But understand, you could take advantage of AI. So AI is not meant to replace people. In fact, people are people are the core, and AI is just an enabler. It's just a tool to help us get better. I remember when Adobe first came out, right? And everybody was doing Photoshop and it was the end of photography. And well, it's not been the end of photography, has it? But I know because it's new, it may seem overwhelming. And there are a lot. I know there's a lot of small businesses, a lot of business owners, I've run into them, who think that AI is going to fix everything. And they don't realize that without a human filter, without human inspiration, it really can't do what it needs to do. So it's important for us to know and use AI. So some of you who are not using AI, don't feel overwhelmed that you can't find your buyer persona. You can with just the sheet that I shared with you in the handouts and that link that I just dropped in the chat box. But also know, if you want to use AI to do that, you can use Google Gemini, Claude AI, or ChatGPT to do the following. The screen is what you have in front of you, and it says, first, the prompt is interview me to find my target audience. AI is going to ask you questions like you see the slew, maybe about 12 to 15 underneath. It's going to ask you those questions. Just answer it. You don't have to worry about space, well, periods. You do have to worry about spaces, but not capitalization. You don't have to worry about doing any of that because AI doesn't care, right? So you can now do this to help you truly understand what it is and who it is that you serve. Now, a lot of times people are confused. They're really confused about what their niche is. So niche is your target audience is what is who you work with and who you actually focus on. Niche is what you do that's so amazing, right? And who you serve, right? So the target audience, niche is what makes you amazing. Let me make that clear because I know that was a little confusing when I said that. Niche is what you do that's so amazing, and target audience is who you do that to. Make it nice and easy that way, okay? So when we're trying to find out a little bit more about our niche, what is it that we actually provide and serve that target audience? What's our superpower that we deliver? What are they most interested in? This helps us now to start focus down on that. After you go through all of those answers, now you put two more prompts together. One is you ask AI to break this down for me. Who are they? What are their challenges? What is or are their pain points? And what do they need? It's actually more what are their pain points or what is their pain point? Okay, so that's what you're going to ask. AI is going to tell you a little bit more. Then you're going to ask it to do the third prompt. Write the target audience as a prompt that I can continue to use to build offers, funnels, sales pages, email marketing, whatever you're doing. So that build whatever it is a list of things. Instagram captions, email marketing, blog post, captions for Twitter, Twitter threads, whatever you're doing, or X threads. That's exactly what you're putting there. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? Okay, so this is how you can use AI to do this portion for you, right? Again, you start with a question of interview me about my target audience. You are the human being, so you're going to have to fill in the answers to these questions because you know your customers and clients best. Now, I've seen some people cheat a little bit and they go to their website if they have a website and they'll put their website in and say, who's the target audience of this? But remember, AI is only pulling from past experiences. It just regurgitates past experience. That's large language model AI that I'm talking about specifically here, not just specifically about the graphics or the video one. But when we're doing this and we're putting together our buyer persona, it's pulling from past information, and you have the more relevant as well as the more personal information. So you need to be able to answer AI. Now, you could also need to know a little bit more about what people are actually thinking and saying. Remember what I said about we as small businesses have a great opportunity to dominate high-end search when people are looking, and that is because we understand our customers. We know them oh so well. We don't need a committee. We don't need to form a committee, so we can be very nimble at this. And one of the things that you can do with AI is you can analyze your customer reviews. Now, if you have a few reviews, 5 or 10 reviews, you can just go out there and take a look, right? Just read them, find out what's the most important words people use, and it's important to use the words they use because Google algorithm is built on three pillars: relevance, distance, and prominence. And one of the things that you need to do first and foremost is be relevant, which means you need to match the words that people are using, not the words that you think or industry speak. You need to use their words. So in your actual reviews, in their own words, they're telling you what matters most to them. Take heed and use those. But if you don't have reviews and you're going out to competitors, you can go out and take a look at competitors' reviews and find out and actually download those reviews from your Google Reviews exporter with export comments. You can also do that for social media comments. And now you can ask ChatGPT, when you upload those to ChatGPT, what are the top 10 common positive items mentioned? If you don't want to use the exporter, don't worry, you don't have to make this complicated. Just copy and paste a bunch of the reviews. You don't have to do all of them, but a bunch of the reviews to get what is the common positive items and then the common negative items. What's most popular that people like? It's an item, a service, or a solution. And then from there, what is their most common concern? So where's AI pulling most of the demographics info? You mean I'm kind of lost with your question, Cecilia, because that's are you talking about when you go to your URL, like you go to abccompany.com, where it's pulling that demographic? I'm not really sure where your question, because remember, we go back here. We're answering a lot of those demographic questions right here. We're asking it to ask questions to interview us. So that's prompt number one. You don't want to miss prompt number one, which is interview me to find my target audience. Okay. So once you have that, it'll come up with what it thinks your target, it's going to actually come up with questions so it can find out who your target audience is. And then after that, what it's doing is it's leaning into trends and information that it finds online. So it's going back into that. Now, if you're using Chat GPT 3.5, it's going back a few months ago, right? So it's not during real time. If you're using Chat GPT 4, that is in real time if you've got that enabled there, as well as Google Gemini, of course, is leaning into Google search. You don't need to have a website for that. Please let me dispel this myth right now. You don't need to have a website for that either. Okay, even if you don't have a website, let's say you're using your Facebook page or you're using socials, you can still find out, interview me about my target audience. So I was just saying, some people like to cheat by putting their URL of their website address and asking AI to just see what's the common trends with a business and this business website. But you don't need any of that. You start here with that first prompt. Even if you don't have a website, go with that first prompt that says, interview me to find my target audience. You can have a target audience that you're serving on Etsy, okay, or on eBay or on Amazon. You do not have to have your own website for this. You could just be serving them from your Google business profile. Okay, I hope that clarifies that. Could you explain what an avatar is in a business context? Yes, absolutely, Carlos. So what an avatar is, an avatar is that buyer persona. Those are one and the same. Some people call it a customer avatar, some call it a buyer persona, but that's what it is. This is a person that you make up. So in the instance, let me bring the slides back up so I can show it to you. In the instance of Daniel, he's just a made up person, right? All they're doing is they're pulling all the information that they found either themselves manually by going through the handout that I provided, or any work that they've done working with AI and looking at their past customer list. And they're looking through all of this and now pulling out some of the similarities. Like, most of their customers are between the ages of maybe 35 and 36. So they've got Daniel as 35. They've just given him that name, and that's why Daniel's an avatar. So he's not a real person. Okay. Now they're thinking about a real person. They're thinking about that best customer, but he himself is not real. They'll find that most of their customers are, let's say, married. Most are in a professional occupation, but they don't have any kiddos. Okay. So that's what they're doing when they pull their buyer personas out. Oh, yes, absolutely. Here's the slides. One more time. I'm going to put it there. See, that's what the chat box is for everybody to ask questions. All right. I know that was a lot in talking about AI. So understand you can use it, but you don't have to use it. The handout that I gave you, that I just dropped the link for there, that is where you'll see 30 questions, or actually 29 questions, for you to actually go through where you can help define your buyer persona. We did all of that before AI. All right. So AI is just making it easier and efficient. AI's superpower is to be able to collate large amounts of data. That's what it's really, really good at, and to be able to research a lot of data. But you yourself as a human have to give it that data, or it has to go out and search it and go into the past. Okay. So that's what AI is doing. So when you define your brand, so what we're doing right now is we're extracting who our best customer is, and understand the branding process and being able to put your actual cohesive message out so you get that valuable visibility. You're finding your customers, you know exactly what you deliver to them and bring to them, and you're connecting that dots, because that's where people fail, is in connecting those dots. And that's what we're doing next, is for you to really discover and to excavate and extract what your VPs are: your vision, your purpose, your values, your passion. This is important because this also is something that leads your day and guides everything that you're doing in all the information and your product and solution that you're providing. So what is it that's most important to you? Just like any other VPs of a company may be important, your VPs, vision, purpose, values, and passion, they're extremely important. And that will help you then with your brand positioning statement, because you need one. All right. That's why we spent so much time talking about who that buyer persona is, or that customer avatar is, because we need to be able to fill in the blank here. Look at this. This is a statement that you can use, and everything in black is what you need to fill in. So for who is that perfect audience, that's what we need to fill in. Who, what are their needs? What are their challenges? What are their frustrations? What are their pain points? That's the second part, which is the customer challenge slash need. Then the company name, that's your company name. If you don't have a company, you're a freelancer, then it's you. So it could be for small business owners who are just starting out that business, who don't know any of the Google tools that are free to them and available to them. The company name is me. I, Maria Elena Duron, provide. Okay, so what do you provide? That's your company name or your name. Then you go into the product and the differentiator. What do you provide? Well, anybody can go online and go to YouTube right away and learn any of this that I'm teaching, but I provide it in bite-sized pieces, really like a friend, in a non-techie way that you're having a cup of coffee with. So that's the product and differentiator. I help do all that so you don't have to waste your time doing that. And I serve it in ways that you can apply it. Because why? Why does that matter to you? Well, for me, it's because I came from Business Incubator, and I saw how many small businesses failed because they wasted their time trying to figure this out. Cash flow did not last as they tried to figure this part out, and I like to shortcut that for them. Okay? So that is what you're going to now fill out. In the instance here, this tote bag that's actually a lunch kit, this is how they filled it out. That's for working professionals. So you see who their audience is. I'm going to go back here for audience. Then you can see who, what do they need? Go back here. Oops, sorry. Go back to who their customer challenge and their need. They need a stylish and functional lunch bag. TW Tote, that's the name of the company, provides fashionable insulated vegan leather totes. All right, again, that's filling in the product and differentiator, because what's their brand promise? They believe everyone deserves a luxurious and functional lunch bag the entire family can use. Okay, so for you, do you have your brand positioning statement? Oh, absolutely, Celia. Happy to help with the examples. Put that brand positioning statement together. Because when we're marketing, understand marketing is not sales. Sales is a portion of what people do. But marketing means that you're creating meaning and storytelling. You, again, I know I've said this 3 times now, but you are responsible for connecting the dots between your product, service, and solution and somebody's needs, what they're searching for, their pain points. So you'll be building those relationships, that trust and that credibility, and then you're going to influence customers along that journey. So it's important for us to know who we are, what they need, as well as what they need to be able to build relationships, develop trust, for them to see you as credible, and then for us to know exactly where they are and understand backwards and forwards their journey. And as they go through that decision path, how can we be of help to them and serve them with our product, service, or solution? Okay? So that is on us. So as we look at people going through their path to purchase, let's say somebody needs a gift, then you can see they go a lot of different places. They don't just go to Google search. They may go out to social for confirmation on that this is a credible brand. They might go to search to make sure, okay, let me look at their reviews because I want to know, are they real or are they just some company out of China? And maybe I'm going to give away my financial information, my payment information. So I want to do some confirmation. Maybe I want to watch some videos to find out how would somebody actually use this. I don't know how this is used. And they might even have and want to work and get things through email or get special offers. So they're only going to buy from somebody who provides a special discount or offer. I know people don't like to say it out loud, but I know a lot of people won't buy unless there's a special offer actually provided. Okay. So you can see how that path goes. Where is it that you actually are inserting yourself or a part of that path? So for a moment, I'm going to ask you now to take everything that you've been talking about because I've been taking you through the branding process. It starts with extract, express, and exude and engage. It's a 4-step process. And we started with extract, extracting who your brand persona is for your actual buyer persona and your customer avatar, who your brand is and what it stands for, what its brand positioning statement is, your VPs, vision, purpose, values, and passion. And now we're moving to how we can connect those dots with people. Remember at the very beginning here, before that path, I said creating meaning and storytelling is foundational. It's needed. So it is not something that you can just skip to be able to build relationships, trust, and credibility. So for you, here's the question. What's a difficult or challenging moment that you've helped your best customer with? Think about that for a moment. This is a chance for you to work on your business instead of just in your business. What is it that you've helped them with? Okay. What was a defining moment for them? Okay. Where there was a big aha, you were able to help them and assist them. You were able to have them see that you actually are an expert and know what you're doing. You've walked the talk. Okay. What have been those defining moments? And I ask you to just jot these down. You don't need to use the chat box for this, but you relieve skin issues. Actually, absolutely. Thank you, Cecilia. Thank you that you did that in the chat box. I appreciate you doing that. You're welcome to do that there because I love seeing it. But if you just want to jot this down for you, because it's all about you and your business today. So what was some place that was a challenging time that you helped? What was a defining moment? What was a funny moment? A moment when you had a chance to giggle at yourself, when you help your customers and your clients giggle at themselves too, because they're going to have those moments. You're going to have moments when it may be, something that's obvious to everyone else, but not obvious to them because of everything that they have in their mind and they're filtering through, right? They've got a cluttered mind with lots of other priorities. What was an adventurous moment in your business? How do you define your aha moment or defining moment for a commodity item like, let's say, example, sugar? Sure. If you're a sugar, so let's say you're marketing sugar. What makes your sugar so unique, Shweta, more unique than if I was looking out at other commodities? Because a lot of times people will put their products into commodities, and when that happens, we shop on price. So you need to be able to put what's the differentiator, what makes your sugar unique over everyone else's. I'd love to hear. For example, when I'm working with people with salt, I'm going to pull from that only because I've done that. So there is Himalayan salt and there's sea salt, and then there's, of course, regular iodized salt. Why does one actually be more unique than the other? Well, in this case, their Himalayan salt, it was the way that they mined it that made it a defining moment for them, because they realized people who were looking for very clean, very sustainable, practical, but also based in the US salt, what they were actually looking at, or based that was ethically sourced is what they were looking for. So again, what is it that makes you unique? That is that defining moment. So with a commodity, it could be that. It also could be, okay, I'm going to take a commodity, let's say tissue. All right. We all call it Kleenex. That's a brand name, but it's tissue. So in tissue, how do you take a commodity like this and make it different? Well, let's go to the defining moments then. When did you need tissue? It's that moment when you were overwhelmed with joy. Somebody actually said something wonderful and sweet and remembered that you drew this picture for them when you were a little girl. And so it brought you to tears. So the defining moment, then, that aha moment, could be that in those special moments, we're always there for you. We're that soft, gentle caress. Okay, so it could be all of those. It does not have to specifically mean that the brand itself has it, but it's when it's introduced in the actual path of somebody's life that it is that defining moment. Does that make sense, Shrita? Let me know in the chat box, okay? So, what's an adventurous moment? And what are the lessons learned? What can you give people? Understand that when you can help your customers or your clients know what's going to happen next. So, here are 4 questions you need to ask because you want to avoid this happening to you. You want to avoid the pitfall of this. If you can help them do that, you are seen as a trusted advisor and as an expert. And understand, we will step over dollars and we'll do business with people that we know, like, and trust, okay? Oh, you're very welcome. You're welcome. So, what lessons have they learned along the way? And what have you learned that you've gone forward to make sure that people, and especially your customers, don't fall into any of the pitfalls and to the trappings that are along the path ahead of them that you already have walked? All right. So when I say unlock your story, what I really mean here is get really good at your storytelling, be it in written form, in post form, taking all those moments, those adventurous moments, those aha moments, those challenges, and putting that into written or video form or picture form so that people can see themselves in it. And that's really important because you can have a great idea, but if you don't execute and connect with people, so it's not seen by them, it doesn't resonate with them, then it doesn't matter. So it's really important for us as small businesses. Remember what I said in the first circle when we started this was marketing's about storytelling and setting that credibility. So if, for example, you are like me, I was headed out to a trip. In fact, we just came back from a trip, my husband and I am the Air Force brat, right? That just locks everything because I'm so secure. So I lock everything and I locked the door and left the keys inside. Now we had the garage door open, but I locked the keys inside to the door and I was the only one with the keys. So our trip was delayed by us having to get in there. And of course, my husband was frustrated because he says, as soon as he walks out the door of his truck, I lock it. And I'm the one who thinks that he leaves his truck open and running all the time, that somebody's going to jump in and that he's thinking that it's all small town and it's not. So you could see that for you, the reason I told that story is because it's a story, it's a situation. I took you through exactly what was happening and I unlocked it for you. And a lot of times we don't unlock our own stories because we are not using an effective strategy, right? How are we delivering it? How are we sharing that story? If people watch video and we're not doing video, if we love Pinterest, but they're not on Pinterest, they're on Instagram or TikTok, then that's not an effective strategy. It also has something to do with our belief system too. Just so that you know, if you are not 100% sold and confident on your product or solution, it's going to come across in everything that you do. You have to be sold on it, okay? And that's something that we won't work on here. I'll tell you, there's a great book called The Big Leap, the LEAP. If you do need to work on that confidence, because a lot of us have imposter syndrome, understand that that's a great way to do that. So we lock ourselves out of that very thing. Now, I just told you a story about locking myself out of the house, didn't I? That's exactly what I did. It wasn't a magical moment, but it was an experience. Remember what I said about those experiences, those adventurous moments, those defining moments, those funny moments? It's sharing an experience. So you do that for connection. All right. It's really so that you engage people at the unconscious feeling level, where when people can make decisions there, that is where you can engage and actually accelerate trust when you can get to that rapport building and that connection. So understand that when you are telling a story, be it on video or photo or even in blog posts, however medium you decide to use, they don't want to be told that they're going to be told a story. If I started with, okay, I'm going to tell you a story, that's adult speak for I'm going to go to sleep now because now you're going to take me on your vacation photos and your big story, and I don't want to go along that long path. So they want to listen to their own story, right? They want to be able to see themselves in your story, right? that will help them again identify and connect with you. So, for example, I could sit in front of you. Let's say I was telling you the story about, and Lisa, I'm going to play with this. I'm a property and casualty insurance agent, and I can help you with your boat, insuring your boat, all of your play toys, your jet skis, as well as your home, any other property that you own. I'm there for you in case you need it. You can contact me. My name's Maria. My phone number is 555-1212. I can use that time more better to be able to connect, to make that good connection by starting with a story and dropping you into that story by saying, I was 8 years old and there was a knock on the door. The family that lived down the street, their house had burnt down and they had gotten out safely, but they wanted to thank my father because he was an insurance agent and he made sure that everything was valued and accounted for, and they didn't have to stress and worry about all of that. It was at that moment that I knew I wanted to make that kind of difference in people's lives, and I wanted to be there when they have so many other more important things to worry about. My name's Maria Elena, Maria Elena Duron. I deal in insurance to make sure that you don't have to think about those horrible things when horrible things happen, those other things when horrible things happen. Okay? So you can tell those stories that quickly, like that. You're not talking about yourself. They need to see themselves in that story. As long as you revisit and relive the feelings in there, the best storytellers start in the moment. I just started with, I'm 8 years old, right? I didn't tell you I'm going to tell you a story about a time I was 8 years old. I'm going to tell you about my father, who's an insurance agent. I dropped you right into the action, just like most movies and most television shows do. That's what you want to do for people. Drop them right into the action, access your feelings. Remember, oh my gosh, it was at that moment that I knew, right? So now I'm tapping to a feeling of seeing my father in awe and looking and thinking, I want to do what he does. I want to make that difference. We all have walked those shoes when we saw somebody who guided us or mentored us or who we cared for do something amazing and we were in awe of them. So we can all step into those shoes and now have and build that kind of rapport. It also helps when we do that to unlock unconscious feelings, and those unconscious feelings help people who are your potential customers build know, like, and trust with you faster because they feel like they get me. They really get me. We are the same. And that's really important because when they feel that you have walked that talk and that you are the same and you value what they value and you've been steps ahead of them, now they will lean into, no matter what the price is, being able to work with you. So you're looking for those stories around moments that are difficult or challenging, that are defining, that are funny, that are adventurous. Okay? That's what you're looking for. So now we've taken what we extracted about our brand and how to express it within storytelling. And again, even though I'm talking about storytelling and you could write that and say that, and I actually said it to you, understand your photos and your videos can do that. One quick guideline that I use is the 3-year-old or the 5-year-old storytelling technique, which is once upon a time. So you start in that moment. You're not telling them, I'm going to tell you a story like I was sharing with you. Then you move into suddenly, the main purpose is really that epiphany, that belief, that moment that it became truthful to you. Luckily, something happened. You were there was victory, and then happily ever after. So again, let me model that to you. 8 years old, there was a knock on the door, and the family down the street, their house had burned down. Okay, so that was once upon a time. I was 8 years old. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. My father went to answer him. Luckily, my father did all these things. They said that he was wonderful. I thought, that's what I want to do. I am now having a mission and a purpose to do this because I feel so connected with it. Happily ever after, they did well and I became an agent. Okay? Understand that you can tell that story without using the words out loud, but they are your guideposts as you walk through the story. Once upon a time, suddenly, luckily, happily ever after. Now, if you ever see somebody doing a great story about their brand on YouTube or YouTube Shorts, they're following the once upon a time, suddenly, luckily, happily ever after. They just don't say it out loud. Okay? So that's the 5-year-old storyline. So we've talked to you about extracting, expressing, and now how can we exude and engage our brand? Well, that's how we can reach people, right? Now that we've got our messaging and we know who we need to reach and everybody else is just gravy, we can look at our marketing funnel. And understand there are four pieces to the funnel. Awareness is the top of funnel, right? That's the very top of it right there. That's the biggest one. Awareness. People need to know we exist. Consideration, as they move down the funnel, that's where we build know, like, and trust in. That's where your story comes into play. That's where understanding and having words that connect with that persona, the customer avatar that is most likely to do business with you, or that's your best customer. Now we talk about conversion. What's that success action that they can do? And then what is it that you do to keep them coming back and either doing business with you or sharing you with their friends and family? Because there's a wonderful halo effect that comes from somebody who know, likes, and trust, or who's been know, liked, and trust by a group of people, and they recommend somebody that they know, like, and trust. So you're not coming in cold. This is what the funnel actually looks like. So it starts with awareness, consideration, conversion, and loyalty. For you in awareness, if that's where you're stuck right now, people don't know you exist, then you might need to identify who that best customer is. Really lean into the customer avatars or buyer personas that we were going through, okay? Or maybe you need to brand your business and really understand what your VPs are: vision, purpose, values, and passion. Or maybe put your brand positioning statement together. That's what you need to work on. Or maybe it's just to be able to be online, because the fact is 84% of us go to a mobile device when we want to know, go, do, or buy now. It's the first place people go, even for local business, and to see if people have the brand locally or even if it is in stock. For consideration, that means we're now building credibility and trust, and they're considering us as an actual expert or a provider of that product or service. We need to be able to listen and learn and be able to communicate and deliver value. This is where storying comes in. Okay, so everything that I've been sharing with you is building on each other. How can now you can take what you learned in the story section and communicate and deliver that value? How can you develop relationships by listening and being able to support them and provide and guide them through those aha moments? Can they find those answers from you? Is it easy enough to find those answers from you? Because we want to make it easy for people to buy from us. All right, so a couple of things. I know that's why we have the blank page here. Let me bring up um, one of the places you can look on is Google Search Console. So that is free. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So I'm going to a live demo. That's why it takes me a moment here. All right, so this is Google Search Console. This is a free tool for you to make sure that all of your website, if you have a website, this is for people who have websites. If you have all your website pages entered into Google's library. So you're not just posting and publishing it out there and hoping that Google finds you, because again, hope's wonderful to have, but it's a poor strategy. And it usually takes about 90 days for Googlebot to find you. We as small businesses don't have that kind of cash flow. So we need to tell it the day that we post it up there. So you can do that here in Google Search Console, because this is the door to Google's library. But you can look in this full report here, this performance report. And I like to go here for the last 16 months. And now when you do this, you can go to the pages, and I can see there's a really drop here. So something's happening here. They're not resonating with their customers here, or it's February 8th. Nope, they're not resonating. Something's happening here. But when I look at the pages, I can see that the page that gets the most impressions, so impressions are how many eyeballs are looking at it. The clicks are how many people actually clicked. They took an action. They tapped on the screen. Okay? So what this is telling me in this order, it's in order of importance, meaning that this page gets the most clicks and the most impressions. The second one are necklaces. So since I see that they're having a drop in business here, I would do everything they can to promote necklaces and rings, because those have shown to have the most interest of people. And somehow either they left us, maybe we need to retarget them with email marketing, or we need to use any of our social ads, Meta or TikTok, and showcase and remind them, hey, come back here, look at this. Or maybe you didn't realize we had these kind of necklaces or rings. It's also reviews. People want to know that people are good at what they do. They want confirmation, third-party confirmation. Okay, so it's good to look at that. I might even take a deeper dive here into these 1,077 clicks on the FAQ. What are they asking? Are they asking if the jewelry turns? Then maybe I need to launch more messaging and a campaign, maybe even a YouTube short. All of my social posts need to talk about the fact that our jewelry does not turn. Okay, so you can utilize these tools to help you make better business decisions. All right, let's go back here. I wanted to show you that because you have free access to that through your free Google account or free personal Gmail account. You don't need anything new to that. And you also have access to Google Trends, which lets you know what people are talking about either in your community or around your industry or topic right away. For a brand new website, do you recommend we go to Google Console and index every single page? Absolutely. Cecilia, absolutely. I do that when I post any new blog post or a new product or a new service on there. I do it because I don't want to wait 90 days. So I would definitely do that, because understand that Googlebot can take 90 days, and sometimes it takes even a little bit longer than that. And I like to push it out and make sure that as soon as I publish it, Google indexes it and it knows. So it's now knows that when it searches, it has all of your information it can pull from when people are wanting to look for your product, service, or solution. Okay? Make sense? Absolutely. Google Trends gives you an idea what people are searching for and they're looking at. If you'd love to learn more about Google Trends, let me know. We actually talk about that at Reach Customers Online, and I actually cover that within our membership too, or also get with your Google partner that invited you here, okay? But when you develop relationships now, it means that you know what their problems are, you can help them solve it, you can help evaluate their issues and their problems too, okay? And that now paves the way for conversions. And that means that you identify what is it they need, what the calls to action are that are important to them, how you can streamline that purchasing process. Now, remember what I said. I've just given you the high level here of the funnel, because we go into depth into it, into the session, which is Launch Your Business with Customer Focused Marketing, which again, all of these sessions are free. Just get with your Google partner if you don't know when the next one is, or if there's not one scheduled, then they will make sure that they ask me so we can schedule that. You'll know exactly what actions work for your customers, what really inspire them to take action. It could be any of the seven items here to the left here that you see of these great cupcakes. Am I making you hungry? So we have covered quite a bit today. Now, as I said before, if you've been in a session with me, knowledge is not powerful until it's applied. What do you plan on applying? I'd love to hear what you'd like to do and apply that you've learned today. It could be from really extracting your brand and really understanding who that buyer persona is, leaning into putting together a good customer avatar. It could be putting your brand positioning statement, maybe really identifying and documenting what your vision, purpose, and values and passion are. Maybe it's in crafting your story and connection and really how you make a difference in people's lives and how you can communicate that within stories, within words, and also within photos and videos. Or it could be that you're looking at where you're stuck in the funnel. So you're going to utilize AI to help you identify my ideal customer. Perfect. What do you recommend doing next? How do you validate? Validate, oh, if they're a best customer, if you have customers already, you can see if they match your customers. But if you don't, then this is where you try to see if this is the best customer for you. And after you start working with people who match that avatar, you might see where there's some gaps that you have. A customer avatar, perfect. Google Search Console, absolutely. The buyer persona. With a farmer's market, it's easy to default to everybody. Yes, absolutely. It's easy to do that. And again, I'm not saying that you can't take everybody's money. Everybody you serve is gravy, but you don't want to miss the best one, right? The one, Marcy, it's the one, oops, not that one. Let me go here. But it's the one that that comes to the farmers market every single day. They bring droves of friends, right? Because they're always, just seems like they're bringing new people. They buy all vendors, everything. They're always trying things. They have lunch there. They're always speaking positively. They have like a group even that comes out. Those are the people who I would say would probably be your best customers, because they are constantly filling your pipeline of people coming in to buy from you, right? Yes, there's a recording. Absolutely. So you can slow me down and speed me up, Whitney, as you need to. No worries. I'm sorry. That was Jigar who asked that question. I'm so glad I could help you. I'm so glad. I'm so glad to help you. All right. I want to finish up with a recap and resources and then go to Q&A. We're probably just going to have a minute for that. Oops, I just realized that. I'm going to have to switch here now. Perfect. Hold on here. Just always does this to me when I need to switch. I'm going to stop the share. Let me go to the new share. All right, there we go. So let's go to recap and resources. All right, that is, yeah, it's this. See. We did extracting, expressing, and exuding. So as you're putting together exactly what you need to do next, this is what you need to look at. Are you stuck anywhere here in the funnel in either awareness, or is it in consideration that you're stuck? So it could be any of the 6 items to the right that you need to help them with or that you need to do. Is it that you're stuck maybe in conversion or in loyalty? So it could be that. Okay. Again, I want to say thank you to our amazing Google partners who make this happen. If you don't have a copy of today's slides, let me drop that again for you within the chat so you will have that, because you want to make sure that you reach out to the person or to the organization that is local to you, that knows your local people, okay, and your local resources. All right. If I can be of help to you, this is the URL where you can find me at to help. This is a paid membership. So just so that you know, because people want to come to me and ask me questions like, okay, Maria, walk me through, this is my, this is who I serve. Walk me through what a good buyer persona would look like. Walk me through how to do this with ChatGPT, or walk me through how to do this with Gemini. That's where they can ask questions. Again, remember, you've got free help and resources already here. Whoops. With your Google partners, so feel free to call on them. But if I can be of help to you, I'd love to. And I am going to model for you. If I've provided good information or service to you, I would love a review. I'd be honored. You don't have to, but always ask for a review when you've given good information or provided good service. Okay? All right. So now let's go ahead and go on to our Q&A. I'm going to stop the recording